What you're frowning for is my need. Better let's talk about it. Oh, better let's talk about it. What's eating you up? Or you got some baby mama issues you're dealing with? Better let's talk about it. If a 2-year-old is didn't.
This week, I found cause to worry about young men. Most young men are single. Most young women are not.
The normal way, actually, that people start relationships in the vast majority of cultures is to be like, it is like semi-arranged marriage, right? Like not the full, you've never met this person before, 13-year-olds, whatever, getting betrothed, like not like that, but the sort of you're introduced by family members, mutual friends, you're known in the community, you go to the same church, whatever it is, and then both of your families like consent to the marriage and it works out okay. But the expectation isn't like, the expectation of marriage up until relatively recently was that you would have an economic relationship, and a reproductive relationship, but you weren't best friends. Mm-hmm. And actually, I don't think husbands and wives used to talk to each other as much as they do now. I think people used to have much more homosocial kind of lives. Mm-hmm. You'd hang out with other men, you'd hang out with other women. You wouldn't necessarily hang out a lot with the opposite sex, including your spouse. So this idea that like the going up to a person in the bar is like the normal and natural way of starting relationships, I don't think is historically accurate.
You might be wondering why on earth is there a 30-minute countdown before the show starts. The show starts 5 p.m. West African time on Tuesday. So the whole essence of this 30-minute countdown is to allow people who are subscribed for the show, for the live stream, to join us. What you can do right now is call your friends, your families, gather together in the chats as we count down to the live stream. 5 p.m. Tuesdays, West African time is when the show starts. Okay, so make sure you subscribe. You click the like button, you click the bell so that you get notified as soon as we start. So we'll start in a couple of minutes. All right, I'm looking forward to see you then.
There's a presumption that you should get married, and if you don't get married, there's something wrong with you. If you've got a girlfriend and you've been with her for 5 years, and you say to someone, we're getting married, they go, oh, that's great. They don't go, why? You're happy. Why would you get married? Like everything's going fine. Why would you put yourself through that? Why would you run that risk? If you say to someone, we've been together 5 years and we've decided we're not going to get married. We're going to move in together, but we're not going to get married. Ooh, what's wrong? You have intimacy issues? What's your problem? Meanwhile, 56% end in divorce. It's literally fits the definition of negligence. Marriage is an inherently negligent activity. It's like owning a lion. I've been doing this for over 20 years and I still get misty-eyed at weddings. Like there's something in me that goes like, maybe it'll work out for these two.
You still believe in love?
Sweet. I absolutely believe in love. I think love is wonderful. But love and marriage have very little to do with each other. I don't think there's much of a correlation there. And I think that's where we got off track. I don't think I can learn everything I need to know about myself from myself. I think having someone around me who sees my blind spots, and that doesn't have to be a romantic partner. That could be a friend, that could be any number of things. But there is something wonderful about romantic connection. We know that. I mean, the other statistic is 56% of marriages end in divorce, but 84% of people who get divorced are remarried within 5 years of their divorce.
Really?
So think about that. So now you've done it and failed and felt the pain of the loss, and within 5 years, 84% are remarried. Listen, you want to test that theory. The next time you're out with a couple who've been together for a while and it like seems like they maybe got in a fight or they're just like kind of being, impatient with each other at the table, when you go like a group thing. Just say to them, so tell me about how you met. Tell me the story of how you met. And everything on them changes. Like they go back to that place. I have this fantasy that if I could be invisible, I have about 8 clients that I'd like to sneak into their house and find their wedding album. Like I know it's in the attic somewhere or something, because I would love to see what it looked like when these people loved each other, because they are weaponized against each other now, and we are trying to kill each other, and we're taking every secret, every intimacy, everything, and we're
at their ugliest.
At their ugliest, at their worst. At some point you were like, there's 7.3 billion people in the world, and you're the one. Like you're the one I just want to be with and smell and touch, and like that feeling, we all know that feeling of like just the electricity of another person, and tying that to the technology of marriage to me makes almost no sense whatsoever. And I actually think it's almost antagonistic, because there's so much expectation that comes with marriage culturally. We've created so much stuff around it. Like when you marry someone, they're supposed to be, at least in the modern Western model, your best friend, best roommate, best co-parent, best travel partner, best roommate, best everything, best activity partner. Like how would one person be all of those things? That's insane. Like whoever came up with the word soulmate, really we should be paying, like divorce lawyers should be paying that person dividends. Because we've convinced people that if this person isn't meeting every one of your needs, checking all of these boxes, they're not your soulmate. Your soulmate would know exactly what to do, exactly what to say at exactly the right time.
I had a guy, am I supposed to mention his name? Okay. He was sweet to the core. That time, I feel like, in fact, make I just marry him. He had money, everything was all right. They gave birth to me. Was born with a silver spoon, but with condition, make crayfish bend, and everything flopped after my daddy died. So it was not easy for me going to school. My mom had a petty business, made me do things that I was not meant to do, and in the process, things happened. He came up as a friend. He came up, and I felt that they were just the same thing. He was sweet, pass mark, yes, checking everything. He wants my progress. Everything was just right. Honestly, I'm still regretting, because the wife he got married to, in fact,
you're better than her.
Yes, I am far better than her.
How do you know?
But it's your judgment, though.
It's not.
The wife might not see it the same way.
Well, the wife will
he would still talk. Like we talk like
like friends.
We're friends.
Of course, he can't tell you that your wife is better
No.
better than you.
See, let me tell you something. With the relationship we have gone so far,
he opens up to you.
I regret it because I was the one that messed up.
Yeah,
yes, I messed up. I just had to call it off, and I do things that pushed him because I wanted to be free. I felt at that time he was stalking me, wanted to know what I was doing every corner. My mom too, even. My mommy was, you not call him today? He cried though. With this whole thing that happened recently, if I remember that thing, I feel bad. Like so pained, because where I should be standing right now with him, another person is there.
Hey everyone, as a reminder, the show will start in a couple of minutes time. It's 5 p.m. West African time on Tuesdays that we run the live stream. You get an opportunity to call in and talk to us. The link to call into the show with your video will be in the video chat. So just ensure you hang out in the video chat with people, get to meet new people, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Okay, so what are the top signs of a catfish?
Yeah, the biggest one, of course, is that they're going to ask for money. But, that may seem kind of obvious to some people, but you gotta remember that these relationships oftentimes are accelerated really quickly. People are love bombing. And so then people are feeling like they are really engaged with this person, invested in that relationship. And another thing is that the person just is never available to actually meet or see in a video. They're always just messaging, so that's a big sign to look out for as well.
Okay, what are some other ways that you can check to make sure the person that you're actually talking to is who they say they are?
Yeah, I always love Google reverse image search, so I recommend doing that, of course, as well as get them on a video chat or meet them in person as soon as you can. It's easy to do just a FaceTime or a Zoom date up front. So that way you're actually talking to a legitimate person. And then also do your diligence. Look them up on social media.
Nothing wrong with a little deep dive.
Not
at all.
Of course.
All right, how can you protect yourself from being catfished?
Yeah, well, of course, never send money to anyone, but also do your research on people. And, if somebody seems too good to be true, well, it probably is. So it's important to, look them up on the different sites. And then also make sure you're meeting people through legitimate means, not just on some kind of, weird website. There's some that are better than others, and they ask people to even upload their IDs and stuff. So that can be good.
Okay, so if someone suspects or thinks that they are talking to a catfisher, what would you suggest that they actually do?
Well, right away you need to block them and then report them through whatever site that you've met them on. You can bring it up to them so they aren't able to do it to other people. And then if you have been scammed financially, make sure you report it to the authorities.
Now, you may be thinking that 30 is actually a better time to settle down than 20 or even 25, and I agree with you. But grabbing whoever you're living with or sleeping with when everyone on Facebook starts walking down the aisle is not progress. The best time to work on your marriage is before you have one, and that means being as intentional with love as you are with work. Picking your family is about consciously choosing who and what you want, rather than just making it work or killing time with whoever happens to be choosing you.
Like dating people in the UK here is very different from dating in Nigeria. People do not randomly walk up to you on the street and be like, hey, oh, you look good, and then start talking to you. You know those things we do in Nigeria? They don't do it here because apparently it is creepy. People find it creepy. So for the past 6 months that I've been here, and I repeat, nobody has walked up to me to, talk to me or check me, like you say, like to ask me out, to toast me like bread. Nobody has done that here in the UK, like randomly. It doesn't happen. So a few weeks back, my flatmate, she is from Zimbabwe, and she was like, Chidera, since you've been here, has anybody ever asked you out? Like, she was legit worried. She was like, because I think I'm not as attractive as I used to be. And I'm like, no, it's just the way it is here. People do not ask people out on the streets the way we do it in Africa or in Nigeria precisely. So my friends told me that here, if you want to meet people, you've got to go online. You got to use the dating apps in it. You got to use Tinder, you got to use Hinge, you got to use Bumble or the dating app.
We're going to start discussing men's brains, women's brains, and how they're very different from each other. Now, I want to start with men's brains. All right? Now, men's brains are very unique. Men's brains are made up of little boxes. It's like the internet superhighway. All right.
This my ex-boyfriend. Let me just say ex-boyfriend. So I think 3 months ago, I told him that I'm pregnant rather. So he told me that he does not want it. That we should try to abort or this. And me, I don't want to abort. So I told him that I can't. abort the baby. So it was like, then if I cannot abort it, then I should sort myself. That went by. Then a few weeks ago, I called him. So he felt I had aborted the pregnancy, or probably I was not pregnant, but I was trying to make it up or prank him. I called him that. So I'm still pregnant too. So what do we do about it? It's like, send me your account number. I said, for what? He said, how much do you need? I'm like, I don't understand. For what? It's like, the money that I used to remove it, like we are getting rid of it. And I'm like, no. I told you that I'm not changing my mind on this one. I can't abort it. So I told my mom that I'm pregnant. Well, I didn't expect that kind of reaction from her. I thought maybe she and my dad, maybe they would say I should pack my things and leave the house or something, but they didn't take it too far. They just accepted it like that. So my mom now said that I should go and, like, he stays in our neighborhood, and his family too, they're staying in our neighborhood. And his mom is someone that my dad knows very well. So my mom went to go and meet his mom to tell him that this, so your son has impregnated my daughter. So the mom said, okay, no problem. That anything that, when will I start antenatal, this. So she called him. It was like, he knows me, but he's not the one that impregnated me. That I'm his girlfriend, like more like girlfriend, but we are not together again. So the pregnancy is not his. So I called my elder brother and I explained things to him. My elder brother was like, if he wants it, then it's fine. But if he does not want it, it's also fine. But he should not come back to come and claim any child that is not his. So far as saying the baby is not his own. So he called me last week. He told me that I'm playing a prank on him, that I know the baby is not his, and I'm trying to impose another man's child on him. And I told him that he should wait for the baby to be out, then we'll conduct a DNA test. He said he cannot wait for it. That DNA, cannot wait for DNA. He used to lie. So he cannot wait for DNA. He said DNA used to lie, and he does not trust me. He does not know what I'm doing behind his back, because he's currently in Ilorin and I'm in Lagos. Back, I mean, I can connive with doctor and they will just present as if it's a Hollywood movie. But it's fair. I don't see anything after then. I did not try to convince him. I just told him that once the baby is out, he should come and get the DNA. And he said he does not even want it. Like, I should not even call him. I should not tell him whether I should not even bring it up. I should not tell his family anything. Like, if I want to have the child, I should just know that I'm having this child for myself. The person that impregnated me is between me and the person. So I should just forget about him, like omit him out of the baby life. That's my story.
Hey everyone, as a reminder, the show will start in a couple of minutes time. It's 5 p.m. West African time on Tuesdays that we run the live stream. You get an opportunity to call in and talk to us. The link to call into the show with your video will be in the video chat. So just ensure you hang out in the video chat, chat with people, get to meet new people, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes.
The concept of love still exists. There's still a lot of people who love you, even if it can't provide everything. And they're ready to support you and be there for you any day, anytime. There's nothing universal when it comes to relationship. It might work for you, it might not work for you.
Yeah.
You understand? So it differs. Any marriage or relationship issue is based on emotional safety and financial security. They go hand in hand. There are cases whereby, like, a woman loves you so much, you don't have so much money, and she loves you day, afternoon, night. And she's there for you. And we've seen situations whereby she loves you, she does everything for you, even if you can't provide for her, but she has a side guy on the other hand, who's providing for her.
Exactly.
It might not be a sugar daddy, it might be just a young guy, but he's providing the finances. He loves you, she loves you genuinely, no issues. But she's having somebody who is supporting her financially. And she's using that money to support you. You know, in my little experience with young ladies, you find out that they'll tell you that, okay, Mr. A, I love him so much. But he's not a fun guy. He's not a fun guy. I like him. Always just talk. But Mr. B, I like going out with him because it's fun to do it. Then you're like, you love this guy.
I love the both
He's
of them.
somebody that you can get married to. He's quiet, he's responsible. But he doesn't have that spice of exactly. Like, take me out all the time, go to club, do crazy stuff, be adventurous. He doesn't have it. He's too, he's a bookworm. Go to the office, come back, what do you need? Talk about life and that's all. But you also want that spice of craziness sometimes. So you know that there's a Mr. B. No, you're not dating him, but he's my friend. Anytime he calls me, I want to go out with him. So you're confused. Yeah, because if you end up getting married to your Mr. Right, at the point in your relationship or in the marriage, you might get bored. I get tired of it.
That's true.
So what happens? Because you hardly find a guy or a woman, or let's talk about guys, that is total package. You hardly find it. And even what I used to tell people is that, okay, a guy might start out as a fun guy in his early days. But at some point, due to exposure, due to new friends he's meeting, he might turn to that boring guy.
Women like to be able to learn from their men and have leadership within their relationship traditionally, not all women. And so oftentimes men that are younger don't necessarily have those experiences. Some women do, and they do well in that space, but not most. But I think it's a combination of things. I think it's, for instance, I'm single, I don't have children, and people ask me like, what happened? And I'm a heterosexual woman, right? And so it's like, well, a couple things happened. First and foremost, I always say I spent too much time on the wrong relationships. I tell any young woman, get in and get out. It's the OG classic. That's what Jay-Z said.
Classic.
That's what Jay-Z said.
Now you're speaking the language.
Right. If it works, great. If it doesn't, move on as quickly as possible, right? Learn the lesson, forgive, and move on. So I didn't necessarily do that as often as perhaps I should have. But I also think creating a space to date and explore. Women that are driven in their careers,
they don't have time.
Tend to forget about how intentional you need to be about dating.
That's another thing. I'm glad you said that. They don't have time.
They don't have time. They don't make time.
They don't make the time.
They don't make the time.
They have the time. They don't make the time.
They don't make it because it gets exhausting, right? When you're constantly coming up against the men that may not be equally yoked.
Yeah. There's a list of priorities.
Yeah. I had a friend that said to me, very, very, very good friend. She said, you need to approach getting married like finding your dream job. The same way you would go and find interviews and have conversations. You need to find friends that have single friends. You need to be in spaces where there are single men, because of the type of man that you want to marry is very unique. So you're not going to just bump into him at a supermarket. You've got to be intentional.
That's a fact.
And I thought it was brilliant when she said it to me way too late, but she had, obviously expressed it. And I think the same thing happens in some of the situations that you mentioned.
So let me tell you the angle I'm coming from now. Okay? I'm asking these questions particularly because I wish well for the women in my life. I wish well for the women that come on this podcast. Okay? So I am coming at this from the background of healthcare. Okay, it is known that the best time for women to have children, if you really want to have children, the best time for you to have children, all right, is from the ages of 18 to, you push it at worst, 32, 35 at worst. It's the best time for women to have children. Okay, and there's a reason for that. All the children that you will have been born with the means to have them when you were born. So usually most women are born, by the time you are born and you reach the age of you start having your menses, you usually have about between 300,000 to 400,000 eggs. And every single month, all right, every single month you shed about 1,021 of them. Roughly 1,000 of those eggs, immature eggs, they are released. They don't make it to the race. By the time your menses is starting on a monthly basis, 20 of those eggs start to mature. And then usually one egg is ready for fertilization. So if you have sex around at the time that egg is released, the person gets pregnant. Whether you get pregnant or you don't get pregnant, at the end of a year, usually, you would have used up 12,000 eggs. Okay? So most women who start their menses, from the time they start their menses to the time in which they stop ovulating, really, they have roughly about like 25 years. So women who start their menses early, maybe like around the age of 8, 10, 12, by the time they are reaching the age of 35, 37, they are near the end. It doesn't mean that they can't get pregnant. It just means that it becomes a bit harder. And it doesn't mean that you won't have some people who at the age of 40, 41, 42, they will not get pregnant easily. But it means that if you take most women around the age of 37 to 40, they find it difficult. And I see these people. I've had people who have walked into my consulting room, which I'm talking to, and they are struggling to have children, and they can't get pregnant. And there's nothing as painful in this world for women particularly than you wanting to have children, you can't have it. Do you understand me? That's one. The second thing also is that we also know that it is best for people to have children growing up in a house with a man and a woman. Children who are born into single mother houses, right, they usually are born as well as people who are born in houses where you have. So if we have a conversation, if you add the two together, it means that most want children having prioritize getting married. And we hear a lot. I can't tell the number of people, women who I meet. Almost there was a particular lady who I attended to. She was shedding tears. She had tried so many things. She had tried IVF. IVF cost millions. Eventually, when she tried IVF and it did not take, she tried like 4 times. When she could not get pregnant with IVF, she was nearing 40. And she said that some of the eggs that they harvested, if she had known, then she would have tried using a surrogate. Surrogacy is also expensive. Those are problems the person would not have had if she had prioritized having children early. Do you understand me? So we're not having this podcast because, fine, we're cracking jokes and all that. You talk about the issues you face and all that. But somewhere in your life, all right, there's expectation that you're supposed to have children. If you want to have children, it's best you have them in time. It's best you have them with a husband. Do you get me? The things which we are saying, if you go on social media, you won't hear these kind of things. On social media, the kind of things you hear is people telling you that, go girl, more power to you, get the bag, get your money, you are the queen, make your money, collect your money and all that. You always get, you can always have children later. A large amount of people nowadays in their 30s, women particularly, are finding it difficult having kids. They are larger than normal. It's the reason why most of our ancestors then, when people were getting to the age of 18, once women start getting the age of 18, they will prefer for them to get married because they understand that the older you get, the harder it becomes. We'll go back right now. So I would ask that question again. Not what do you need to get pregnant, not what do you need to have children. What do you need to start a family?
What you frowning for is my need. Better let's talk about it. Better let's talk about it. What's eating you up? Or you got some baby mama issues you're dealing with? Better let's talk about it. You're 2-year-old, it didn't.
This week, I found cause to worry about young men.
And what you frowning for is my need. Better let's talk about it. Oh, better let's talk about it. And what you frowning for is my need. Better let's talk about it. Oh, better let's talk about it. What's eating you up? Oh, you got some baby mama issues you're dealing with. Better let's talk about it. If 2-year-old is
This week, I found cause to worry about young men. Most young men are single. Most young women are not.
The normal way, actually, that people start relationships in the vast majority of cultures is to be like, it is like semi-arranged marriage, right? Like not the full, you've never met this person before, 13-year-olds, whatever, getting betrothed, like not like that, but the sort of you're introduced by family members, mutual friends, you're known in the community, you go to the same church, whatever it is, and then both of your families like consent to the marriage, and it works out okay. But the expectation isn't like, the expectation of marriage up until relatively recently was that you would have an economic relationship, and a reproductive relationship, but you weren't best friends. Mm-hmm. And actually, I don't think husbands and wives used to talk as much as they do now. I think people used to have much more homosocial kind of lives. Mm-hmm. You'd hang out with other men, you'd hang out with other women. You wouldn't necessarily hang out a lot with the opposite sex, including your spouse. So this idea that like the going up to a person in the bar is like the normal and natural way of starting relationships, I don't think is historically accurate.
Earth is a 30-minute countdown before the show starts. The show starts 5 p.m. West African time on Tuesday. So the whole essence of this 30-minute countdown is to allow people who are subscribed for the show, for the live stream, to join us. What you can do right now is call your friends, your families, gather together in the chats as we count down to the live stream. 5 p.m. Tuesdays, West African time is when the show starts. Okay, so make sure you subscribe, you click the like button, you click the bell so that you get notified as soon as we start. So we'll start in a couple of minutes. All right, I'm looking forward to see you then.
There's a presumption
frowning for is my ear. Better let's talk about it. Oh, better let's talk about it. What's eating you up? Or you got some baby mama issues you're dealing with? Better let's talk about it. You're 2-year-old, it didn't.
This week, I found cause to worry about young men. Most young men are single. Most young women are not.
The normal way, actually, that people start relationships in the vast majority of cultures is to be like, it is like semi-arranged marriage, right? Like not the full, you've never met this person before, 13-year-olds, whatever, getting betrothed, like not like that, but the sort of you're introduced by family members, mutual friends, you're known in the community, you go to the same church, whatever it is, and then both of your families like consent to the marriage, and it works out okay. But the expectation isn't like, the expectation of marriage up until relatively recently was that you would have an economic relationship, and a reproductive relationship, but you weren't best friends. Mm-hmm. And actually, I don't think husbands and wives used to talk to each other as much as they do now. I think people used to have much more homosocial kind of lives. Mm-hmm. You'd hang out with other men, you'd hang out with other women. You wouldn't necessarily hang out a lot with the opposite sex, including your spouse. So this idea that like the going up to a person in the bar is like the normal and natural way of starting a relationship. I don't think is historically.
I can hear you now. I can't hear you at all. Can you hear me? But I cannot hear you. If you can hear me, I can't hear you. Okay, let me go offline and come back again.
accurate.
What you frowning for is my deed. Better let's talk about it. Oh, better let's talk about it. What's eating you up? Or you got some baby mama issues you're dealing with? Better let's talk about it. If 2-year-old is
This week, I found cause to worry about young men. Most young men are single. Most young women are not.
The normal way, actually, that people start relationships in the vast majority of cultures is to be like, it is like semi-arranged marriage, right? Like not the full, you've never met this person before, 13-year-olds, whatever, getting betrayed, like not like that, but the sort of you're introduced by family members.
I can't use laptop microphone. What about something? It's asking to boot my computer. At this point, I give up.